we're good to go here. I'm going to win. I'm just going to win. All right, be gentle. All right, Stokastic, here we go. It's your old pal EMac coming to you because it's a Sunday night. I am joined by the one and only Matt Belman. Matt's another day older, another day wiser. Shout out to him. It's his birthday. It was Jordan Klein's birthday yesterday. We have birthday twins represented here. We're 10 days away from my half birthday, but I'm not part of this birthday party. Matt, what is going on here?
Nothing. It was actually my birthday yesterday, so not today, but thank you for the shout out. Nothing, man. Just feels weird to be the age I am. I'm not even gonna say it, but yeah.
100. You can say it. 100. It's a milestone.
You know how I'll classify how old I am as I'm still not as old as EMac.
There we go. That is a valid measurement these days. All right. So, hey, earlier today, there were some shenanigans across several games. There was a lot of injuries to quarterbacks. And by bowing to the altar of the football gods and making Jameis Winston inactive today, they had to use the third quarterback rule because the two first quarterbacks got hurt. And that would be potentially your gateway out of this hell that you're in. Matt, how are you feeling about this?
Yeah, I mean, rough weekend to be a Cleveland fan. That's for damn sure. So, not feeling much about the Browns. I was talking to my dad earlier, and he was they're not even worth talking about. They're not even worth watching. It's sad. They're already the worst team in the league again. After, fans thought they had kind of turned things around last year. They didn't. It's just an aberration. They stink. They're going to be drafting real high. I don't even think they should start Winston because you kind of know
he might win.
Yeah, exactly. Not even that he might win, but I want to know what we have in DTR. Now, some people might just say, he stinks. He might, but I think you at least give him some games to see if he could be anything. Yeah, I mean, the Browns are pathetic. They're just a pathetic run organization.
All right. Now that you got that out of your system, we've got about 40 minutes to go here. So we have a lot of fun ahead of us. We, of course, will be breaking down the game here. That is important. We'll be talking about a few different ways you guys can find some value here at Stokastic. And I see I think all of the games are over at this point, which is kind of a rarity for us. So we are collecting people rather quickly. So one of the deals I wanted to mention is for the NBA, which starts on Tuesday. And this is such a good deal. We're going to mention it a couple times. But for everybody who wants to know how to save a little bit of money here, use the promo code TIPOFF24. Promo code TIPOFF24 will get you everything Stokastic for NBA through the 29th. So you don't have to game it. You sign up tonight and you get it all through the 29th. You sign up tomorrow, you get it all through the 29th. You wait until first tip on Tuesday, sign up for it. You get it all through the 29th. You get the first week for $1. That is promo code TIPOFF. Take advantage of that one. All right, Matt, we have a little bit of a changing of the guard tonight. Russell Wilson is going to be under center. Now, there are some interesting takes here. There's word floating around the nebulous Ethernet or internet or interwebs saying, hey, we could see two quarterbacks tonight. I don't know. That feels kind of weird. If they're going to go to Russell Wilson, they're going to go to him. They picked a horrible spot. Tough matchup. Primetime game. The team's 4-2. Somehow Justin Fields has them in a position where they're playing with house money. And here we are. We're going to Russell Wilson. Yay or nay from your perspective on this?
I mean, I assume you're just asking me from a outsider looking in.
Not DFS.
Not even DFS. I feel like they had to have promised him some sort of the job in some way because I don't really see how you make this move at 4-2 with Fields playing well. Not amazing, but certainly not bad. I know what bad quarterback play looks like right now. They know what bad quarterback play looks like. Haven't had Pickens, or not Pickett, Kenny Pickett for the last couple years, who was awful. So
Duck Hodgins, Mason
yeah, I don't
Rudolph.
necessarily think that Wilson's like worse than Fields. I think they're probably comparable, but I think they kind of are doing Fields a little bit dirty. That said, maybe Wilson is better than Fields right now, and maybe he just needed to get healthy. So I can't speak to what was going on in that building, so hard for me to say. But from an outsider looking in, I feel like they're doing Fields a little bit dirty, who played pretty well. One goal line stand against Dallas from being 5-1.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot, and that's where I sort of went with the playing with house money. Now, I agree with you with what you said there. They did seem to make a deal with Wilson. He was going to be the starter going into this. He did hurt his calf with about 2 or 3 weeks left in training camp. So then he was kind of healthy enough to play, but they held him out, and then they started winning. So between that and new offensive coordinator Arthur Smith, it just sort of made sense to keep going with Fields. I mean, I guess if you're going to give Wilson a shot, you may as well do it now. The challenge is, he's nowhere near what he was in his days with Seattle. He's not even close. But in a little fun with numbers as we start to turn to today's action and today's actual DFS, did you know that 10 years ago, that would be 2014, October 19th? Oh, that would have been your birthday. That would have been a milestone birthday for you. Russell Wilson became the first NFL quarterback to throw for 300 yards and run for 100 yards in the same game against the, wait for it, St. Louis Rams, because, hey, it was that long ago. 2 other quarterbacks have done that. Cam Newton did it the following year. He ended up having, I think, 5 touchdowns in his game. He got to exactly 100 rushing yards on 8 carries. And then a couple years ago, Josh Allen also did that. So 3 quarterbacks have done that 300, 100. But just kind of interesting that it's been basically 10 years ago to yesterday. It was Russell Wilson. So Wilson. Always a feared deep ball passer, usually good on out routes, trended towards throwing to tight ends in the red zone, held on to plays way too long, used to be able to have some scrambling skills, not as much in his later years, took a lot of hits for Seattle, led the league in sacks with Seattle, led the league in sacks with Denver. So, old habits kind of die hard here. That makes things a little tough, but anything else you want to add about Wilson here? And then what do you think his addition does to the pass catchers in an already low volume offense that I don't see major upticks on?
Yeah, I mean, this game kind of has that all over. I know New York has a lot of at least the shiny new toy in this game, but both defenses are very good. On like a main slate, I wouldn't be interested in playing Wilson here, but it's obviously not a main slate. I think the uncertainty.
And there are 2 starting quarterbacks in it. I'm not interested in playing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much Fields is going to play. I've heard rumblings that they have packages for him. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. Maybe they're going to play him more than we think. So I do think there's some uncertainty with Wilson, but at the end of the day, he's one of the 2 starting quarterbacks in this game. So I'm not going to X him out of my field or anything like that.
All right. So let's talk about his pass catchers. So we know that again, with Arthur Smith and an already conservative Pittsburgh scheme that we have seen for the better part of 2 decades, they do just enough to win. They win ugly. That is a specialty of theirs. No worries about kicking field goals at all. You've got I made him the feature guy in my article, and that would be George Pickens. Now, I made him the feature because I wanted people to read about this and then make their own determinations. This isn't like a huge bonus that he now has Russell Wilson. We were talking about birthdays. Wilson's going to be 36 next month. So the good news is no Michael Carter II. He's out again. DJ Reed is joining him. He played on Monday Night Football, was questionable going into that game, tweaked his groin. He's out tonight. But you still have Sauce Gardner, but that just means more of journeyman Isaiah Oliver and Brandon Echols there. The Jets have they put the clamps on Josh Allen, essentially, to just 215 yards in that game. So we're not expecting a lot of goodness out of Wilson. And then when it comes down to the volume, over the last 3 starts, Justin Fields has 26 targets, but he's only caught 13 of them. And he is not an every single down player. He's averaging 70% of the snaps in this time frame. So my first thought was, cha-ching, we're just going to make him the captain on DraftKings in our cash games, and we're going to move on. And after reading this, I'm like, no, we're definitely not going to do that, because this is a paper thin margin here. And it's not like the volume's going anywhere else, because Calvin Austin III, his best game was 4 for 95 and a score. That was in week 3. Van Jefferson, his best game was 3 catches for 25 yards in week 5. And Scotty Miller's best game, the only game in which he got targets, was back in week 3. He had a couple catches for 31 yards. These should be averages for these receivers, not their best game after 6 this season. And we turn it to the tight ends here, and then at least you have Freiermuth, who is somewhat intriguing here. He seems to have wrested the job away from Darnell Washington. Though Washington is on the field a lot, they play a ton of 2 tight end sets. They have to with their offensive line at this point. But so I like Freiermuth. Washington, though, could pop up in the red zone because, as I mentioned, Wilson goes to the tight ends in the red zone. He has had close to a third of his touchdown passes while he was in Seattle for his last 5 seasons went to tight ends. He didn't play favorites either. That was just how things worked out. Knowing all of this, what are you parsing out as the best Steelers pass catcher?
I mean, I feel like the best is so relative to how you want that question to be answered. I still am going to say Pickens. Certainly he's not the safest, and he's disappointed a ton. But as far as upside goes, he's clearly the guy. We don't know that Russell Wilson's going to help him. We don't know that Russell Wilson's going to hurt him. We just don't know. And again, you mentioned the injuries in the Jets secondary. I do think this is a better matchup than probably you would think going into this game. So I like Pickens. I don't love him. If I were making one lineup, I certainly wouldn't captain him, but he'd be in the mix to be in my flex for sure.
Okay. And that's kind of how I'm feeling with this one a little bit. We talk about the quarterbacks every now and then where it's like, don't really want to put him captain, but I want to be over the field with them in the flex spot. That sort of is how I feel towards Pickens in this one. Let's turn our attention to the running game here for the Steelers. They, of course, have Najee Harris, who, he's a running back, didn't get his 5th-year option picked up. So he's on the final year of his rookie deal. It's the 4th year for that. He has a career average of 3.9 yards per carry. Excuse me. Remember a few amazing games that he had with a lot of check down catches. Still, his career yards per catch is just 6.2. And then I don't have it in my notes, but I think he only has 30 or 32 touchdowns. So basically getting about 1 every other game. That's still reasonable, but not what we're thinking of when we look towards a key running back here. And then you also have Jaylen Warren, who missed a couple games. He's back. He played last week, played 25 snaps, didn't get a lot of action, didn't get a lot of targets, but he played 25 snaps. Najee only had 31 last week. So I'm not thrilled with either one of these guys. Bags were packed. We've mentioned this before with Jaylen Warren in the best ball streets. Fair amount of Najee Harris. I got egg on my face on both counts here. Can we get a comeback here from either one of these fellows tonight?
Man, it's again kind of the story of this game. I like Harris here. He's expensive. I mean, he's never a guy I'm gonna love and want to go all in on, but even with Warren back last game, he had his best game of the year. So there's certainly game scripts where he's really good. He's like Pickens to me. I don't want to captain him, but as far as flex plays go, I like him quite a bit. I think most people are going to want to lean towards the Jets as far as position player pieces go. I get that. I do like the Steelers pieces, though, who I think will be a little bit lower owned just as much.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about ownership as we get into the strategy because we haven't said one exciting thing about any of the Steelers yet, and somehow we're still going to need to play at least one. So everybody's got to play one. I think less than half the field is going to play two. That means if you start playing three, you're getting real different real quick here.
That's
So
crazy to me. I mean, it's like a pick 'em game almost. I know the Jets are slight favorites it's in Pittsburgh. I get it. I know the Jets have much more name brand on their offense, but I don't know. Like, if I'm playing big tournaments, I definitely want Pittsburgh considering the ownership that you just mentioned.
All right, let's maneuver on over here to the Jets. We'll hit special teams after we get through them. Brees Hall, kind of the top option here. He looked good on that Monday Night Football. Let's see. He is projecting to be between 85 and 90% of all lineups tonight between the multiplier and the flex spot. That is across the industry. That should be no surprise. Pittsburgh's allowing the fourth fewest rushing yards per game, 85.5 per game. Bijan Robinson, he got 68 yards against him. Jonathan Taylor, 88. Rico Dowdle, well, he had 87 somehow. That was the one rare decent performance he's had this season. Nobody else has gotten more than 45 yards on the ground against them. So that is interesting. Hall himself really was pretty pedestrian. He didn't get his first game, I think he had like 55 or 60 yards was his best until the last game. He got 113 yards on Monday Night Football with 18 carries. So that is very nice to see. I think he is impacted less than just about anybody on this team, or impacted more positively, I should say, by the addition of Devante Adams, save for maybe Aaron Rodgers. Though Rodgers, you could argue, is going to maybe force things too much into him, and there could be some interceptions as a result. But at least there's one more player that can take the heat off of Brees Hall. You could similarly say that with Garrett Wilson, but the volume's going to go down for Wilson. So that makes it kind of tricky there to say, well, he's going to be better. He may be more efficient with the addition of Adams, but I don't know that he'll be better. Is Brees Hall kind of he has to be the captain if you're making cash games, right?
Definitely the cash game option. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, it might make him more efficient, and he might end up being better just from coincidence, but certainly adding another mouth to feed like that isn't on paper going to make him better. I'm totally with you. Just the options in this game, and he's going to be involved no matter what the game script is, rushing and receiving, which is, valuable in a game script like this one.
All right. And then comparing Hall to Allen, obviously his teammate, his backfield mate. They've had that duo has had all but 3 offensive snaps. Isaiah Davis got 3 back in week 3. That was that lopsided 24-3 victory against New England. So Davis has been special teams aside from that. So Allen is, still, he has half as many rushing yards as Hall, partly because, teams have been keying on Hall. Allen's gotten some of the, the luckier plays, or the less likely running down plays where he's been able to get some extra action. But it's 83 carries to 35 carries. So that's a big discrepancy. Hall has 2 touchdowns. Allen has 1, and each has a receiving touchdown. But even when you look at the receiving touchdown or targets, it's 34-13, all leaning towards Brees Hall. So Allen still viable, but we've got some other cheapies on the Pittsburgh side, right? Which they're not fighting with Brees Hall for the ball because they're the other team, which all of a sudden makes them look a little bit better than Braylon Allen there. So that's kind of the take on the running game. Let's get to what everybody wants to hear about. What do you think of the latest move by general manager Aaron Rodgers here to bring Devante Adams back into the
fold? I feel like this was bound to happen. This rumor has been going on for years. It feels like he wasn't playing. Now, of course, he's healthy. It reeks of desperation, but I get it if I'm them. Didn't really give up a ton. I think, I know they gave up future draft capital, which is probably stupid from their shoes, but they're all in right now anyways. So presuming they get to where they want to be, that draft capital won't matter as much. Devante Adams, he's still really good. It's classic Jets, though. They lose last Monday night because their defense can't stop the run. and they go and trade for a wide receiver. So, I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I understand why they made the move.
I think it's reasonable, right? Now you got somebody to take some attention off from a football standpoint. Yeah, it sucks for DFS. It sucks for fantasy when you're putting all that capital into both those receivers. Now they're on the same team, on a run-heavy team that has a really good running back and a quarterback that would love it if he never snapped the ball with more than 5 seconds on the play clock at any point during the game. This is not helpful for fantasy here, but it does make sense from a real football perspective. So people were arguing that, this was a bad trade. You could have gotten more. Yeah, they probably could have gotten more this offseason, but how much more, right? They got
For
a third
Adams?
round pick. Yeah, for Adams.
I don't know. He's old.
Second rounder? Yeah, he's old. It's he's got 2 years left on a really big contract. Or I guess 2.5 years left on a really big contract.
I just feel like the market for him is very limited in terms of the teams that actually want him.
Yeah.
That's not to say he isn't really, really good. The NFL trade market is weird like that. Picks are worth gold. So players like Devante Adams that are old like that aren't getting traded for much more than the Jets gave up. And I'm not sure they could have gotten more in the offseason because the Jets are getting him for the rest of this year at least.
Right. And the other thing, so the conversion factor on these is Devante Adams needs to be an all-pro. Okay, he's missed, 4 games? And that's going to make it tough. Or the Jets need to make it to the AFC Championship. Well, we'll see. That's a possibility. But even then, it only goes into a second rounder. So by the time you account for his gigantic contract that is coming along with him, and yes, well, that cap that sits on another team, the actual cash being paid out does not. I don't know all the final details there, but that was kind of an interesting thing. So you got 2 good receivers here. That's going to make the league leader, at least as of this morning. I didn't look at the leaderboard after the games today. Allen Lazard led the league with 5 touchdowns heading into today. Now, George Kittle also had 5. There were 4 players tied at the top. Kittle played in 1 fewer game than the others. But still, even saying that Allen Lazard is leading the league in touchdowns 6 weeks into the season is pretty crazy.
That's fucking nuts.
Yeah, he has 25 targets over the last 3 games. I think he's going to lose a little bit maybe, but how much? The odd man out is likely to be Mike Williams. He's been averaging just 2.3 targets per season. So where are these targets magically coming from? For this offense, that's when you start doing the math and looking at it. You're like, why do we have so much Jets love here? I don't know that they're going to be able to support some of these salaries. And then I'll hand it back to you in just a sec. But then you got Tyler Conklin, who's dealing with a hip issue. Last week, he seemingly disappeared, though he ended up playing on like 70% of the plays. Finished the night with 3 targets, 2 catches, 10 yards. Jeremy Ruckert played on about half the plays. Felt like his name was getting called more frequently, but he only had 3 targets, 2 catches, 7 yards there. Anthony Ferguson, I didn't see if he was inactive, but he was on the field for 6 snaps. I don't think he's active tonight, but Brendan Bates will be. He's the other guy that will be in there. But what do you want to do with these pass catchers, and where does Rodgers fit into this mess?
Man, I'll tell you what, it's funny. I've been doing some more stuff with the Sims, and the Sims do not like Devante Adams like at all, and they like the other guys like Mike Williams and Allen Lazard. I don't love it, but like I do feel like Adams just got there. He had been hurt. I know he's got familiarity with Rodgers, but that's it. And I think people might be overplaying that. So I actually like it. I'm lower on Adams and higher on the Lazards and even Mike Williams is of the world. Certainly Garrett Wilson, but Mike Williams, man, like I know like all the stuff that happened last week with the like route and all that. Wouldn't be surprised if Aaron Rodgers makes it a point to get him one. He's also a trade candidate, so maybe they want to showcase him. Again, he's 3,400 and not getting any ownership, so I'm higher on those guys and lower on a fully priced Devante Adams. That might burn me, but you can't play everyone.
Right. We're going to have to make some choices here. Now, if you are playing 150, you can get a sprinkle across a different player pool or a more diverse and dispersed player pool. Though at some point you want to start chopping off some of those players that are 5% or less, because at that point you're just it would feel like you're wish casting. Though in these top heavy tournaments, that is going to be something that we're going to see these teams up there. I think I saw somebody in chat was saying, have we ever seen a 3-quarterback lineup win in fantasy? I don't know, but if it didn't happen in 2020, the year the simulations took over, the real simulations, the ones that are our overlords, not the Stokastic sims. If it didn't happen in that year, I don't know that it ever will. But you guys can get the sims yourself by signing up. Jordan's going to put a little graphic on the screen here. You can get the sims by signing up through almost every partner we have is offering a chance for you to get a month of the sims if you sign up with them going through our links. In the industry, in the parlance is link join. I had to ask what that meant because I'm old. I figured I knew what it meant, but Jordan's going to put that on the screen, and we'll also put that into the chat. But anything you're signing up with and joining through us, pretty much that's on that list, will also get you 1 month of the sims. It's a pretty fantastic deal. You can stack those on top of each other. And there's a couple sites out there that most of you probably have not joined. Jump on in there. There's something for everyone. Or if you're doing a road trip, wouldn't it be something to sign up and deposit on a bunch of different sites? Like perhaps you were out for a weekend somewhere in where there's legalized gambling, like in a bunch of areas, like maybe Nashville or Vegas or Virginia that has all of the sports books in them. That'd be a little gift to yourself. You can stack up 4 or 5 months worth of the sims. So check that out. All right. Anything else you want to hit on for these offenses, or shall we move to special teams and then we can talk about constructing lineups here?
Yeah, let's move on. I mean, just real quick, I know we'll talk about this after. Who do you think wins this game?
I'll have to see if I made a bet on it. Whatever the promo was on Hard Rock, because I'm a schlub and that was the only thing I had. That's the only sports book I have. So, and I can't go on to it now that I'm on Zoom, but I think I went with New York. I'm kind of leaning towards New York here. I don't think it's, I mean, what are they, like 1.5 favorites?
It doesn't sound like you have a ton of conviction.
No, and if the little bonus had been on the Steelers, I would have bet on the Steelers because I wanted the little bonus there. It looks like I got my eyes are too small. Maybe I didn't bet it. I did bet Breece Hall and Najee Harris to each get 65 rushing yards. That was a boost. Better go see if there's one out here for them. They must have pulled it before I bet it. So they had one that was sitting out there that was even money, and I think it was plus 140 or 130 instead of minus 1.5. And I think they pulled it when I went to -2 because I wasn't paying attention. So that was I still lean towards New York, barely, but that's, I mean, they're a shit show, right? Let's change everything up. Let's get rid of our coach. Let's bring in a new player. Yeah, they need this one. They need Woody Allen needs Woody Johnson needs the game more than anybody else, right? I mean, he just fired the coach, changed play callers, just traded for this guy, bent over and said, "Anything else you'd like, sir, to bring Aaron Rodgers over here?" He needs to win more than anybody.
Yeah, that said, like what's happening? Even if they lose, nothing's happening to him.
No, we'd like to think not. And yes, Jordan, thank you for making fun of that. That just makes me happy. I'm sad that I didn't get this bet in. Huh. And the stuff is, let me tell you the bets I do have. I did a 3-game parlay, the under on 40 points. I did this by using OddsShop. You guys need to check that out. Check that out with tails. But you got, I did over 89.5 combined yards for Breece Hall. That's rushing and receiving. And I said yes to a Devante Adams anytime touchdown, right? It's all but preordained. You could get that between plus 140 and plus 160 on books. I did, that's my Mets parlay. Oh, I bet this is the one they gave me. Here we go. Devante Adams over 49.5 yards and Aaron Rodgers over 22 or 224 yards. That I got at plus 145. So I took that, and then I had the rushing prop. So yeah, they did pull that other one before I got to it. Those are my wagering props. Let's talk special teams here, and then we'll talk lineup construction because God only knows what is going to make sense here. Craig, no longer the leg Zerline, 37 years old. He has missed his only attempt this year from 50 yards. He has made only one of three between 40 and 49 yards. So for those of you scoring from home, he is 1 of 4 from beyond 40 this season. He has made all 11 extra points, but he has just eight made field goal attempts. On the other side, you have Chris Boswell, not to be confused with my cousin, Chris Boswell, but Chris Boswell, the kicker. He has missed once this season from beyond 50. Over his last 2 years, he has a 94% conversion rate on 48 field goal attempts. Now, I was almost 20%. I'm taking this from a ESPN story I saw. Almost 20% of all field goals this year are being kicked from beyond 50 yards. And the league as a whole has something like a 70% conversion rate. It's absolutely just insane how good these kickers have gotten. When we turn our attention to those, so I like Boswell. Remember the one end of whatever they call the stadium now, formerly Heinz Field, gets a little tricky there with the wind, but Boswell has been impressive considering he also kicks in the AFC North, which is outdoors for all of those games. On defense, Steelers aren't quite living up to their legendary status, but they do have 11 takeaways, which is 4th in the league heading in today, and their 14 sacks is kind of like, yeah, but Rodgers has 16 sacks this season already, and that's for a team with a run-first approach. If we look at the New York defense, Pittsburgh's given up 16 sacks this year. It isn't going to get any better with Russell Wilson, I can tell you that. And their Russell Wilson is all but assured of throwing at least one interception. He's still one of the better, not the best like he was, better deep ball throwers, and he's one of the better ones at putting it in that tight window where between defenders for his guy. But he's got a calf injury. He hasn't played all season. He barely, he missed a chunk of time last year. The game just keeps getting faster and faster, and he gets slower and slower. That's going to be a problem. I like both defenses. The Jets defense will be in the team free money lineup tonight. That is EMac, username DK Lobby, $1. There's about 7 entries left. Jump in there. Grab me for the $1 head-to-head on the Showdown lineup. And then tell me how you kicked my ass on Twitter, because I have about a 20% rate on these this year. It's literally team free money. Who is the player you are most afraid of not having tonight?
Definitely Devante Adams.
Is it the touchdown? Is it the volume? Is it the I told you so's? What is it that's making you the most nervous?
I mean, just that it's Devante Adams on a showdown slate, and now he's got Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback again. So certainly understand why people are interested in rostering him.
All right. Who is the player that you have the most conviction?
I'm with you on the special teams call. I like Chris Boswell a lot here. He's nails at home. I think this game is low scoring. I like Chris Boswell. That's my player I'm going to be over on.
All right. Who do you think the field is making a mistake on tonight? Who do they have too much or too little of?
It's a good question. I do think the probably answer to that first question is Devante Adams. And the second one I'm going to say is Mike Williams.
Okay. That was not a name I was expecting to hear from you. Is it just, the Mike? I mean, the challenge for Williams is now he's got to go against Wilson, Breece Hall, and Devante Adams in the red zone. Eric Lindquist says that it's all but preordained that Devante Adams is going to get an over-the-shoulder catch in the red zone for a touchdown from Rodgers. That means Williams probably has to score from 20 or more yards out. Healthy big Mike Williams has been able to do that countless times in the regular season and the playoffs over the years. It's been a while since he's been healthy.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, all it takes is one play on a site like this. And I do think that, again, people are really down on him and he's active. He's still part of the team. He probably won't play a ton, but he's very cheap and he's certainly a big play waiting to happen. So again, I'm talking about like big, large field tournaments here.
Are there any other kind of tournaments besides taking EMax team free money dollars one at a time? All right, let's kick off our Sims here. I've got everything else set up. I got all my contests entered that I wanted to enter. Got the cash game lineup built. I'm hoping it's going to be good. I'm playing Brees Hall and the captain. I'm sure probably everybody else is. You know what I'm going to say, one of the best deals we've ever offered. I put this in top 3 offers ever. It's called the everything deal. And I just want to have everybody listen for one moment. If you sign up for any all access Stokastic package and you use the promo code everything, you will get a 10% discount from the current price. And then that's your price going forward, even when we increase them, a year from now, 3 years from now, that's your price forever going forward. You can't break the chain. You got to sign up, use promo code everything. See what I did there, Matt? You can't break the chain. That was a diamond in the rough. Come on.
I respect it.
Matt's chain broke before the clasp fell apart, so he had a little issue there.
Not even just the clasp, everything fell apart.
Everything. Well, see, that's what happens. That's why we don't break the chain, right? Get in there with everything. Promo code everything takes 10% off any Stokastic all access package right now and freezes your price. Amy S would like to know who is the highest owned captain tonight. That is going to be Brees Hall, I believe, on both sides. Jordan can put that one up if he will. Simulate here. Because we are in the simulation. Somebody also had a question asking about playing both Pittsburgh quarterbacks. I wouldn't want to go that route. The volume's just not there. We don't know. I mean,
they're both expensive too.
They're both expensive. And in the article I wrote, I had I had Justin Fields at the top of the lottery section. And I said, for every quarter that Wilson plays and doesn't get hurt, you need to drop him two spots in that rank. Meaning, if he doesn't get into the second half and he has the whole second half, he's an also ran play, unless he runs in a touchdown and throws for one, which that's going to be tough to do because that's about his baseline for a whole game, not a part of a game against a fellow team that would like to run at an incredibly slow pace here. So even if he's getting in for some packages or whatever, I don't see it happening. And to me, it's gonna take Wilson hurting his calf because I don't see Wilson getting benched before the third or fourth quarter. Even if he's completely.
No, I do think that they're going to play Fields in some packages.
Yeah.
So I do think that it's more viable than just like a backup quarterback. I just personally don't like it because of their price points, but I think Fields plays some even in the first.
But would you put them both on the same line?
I would not. No, no way. Ultimately, we reach the same conclusion.
Yeah. They're both going to be on the field. But how much? We shall see.
I don't like either of them that much just individually. So I'm with you.
Who is your Brees Hall captain if you're building out, if you want to be slightly contrarian?
I'm going to go with Boswell. Again, I think this game's low scoring. He's nails at home. I think that they're able to move the ball, but I don't know if they're necessarily able to score touchdowns. So give me Boswell.
I like to hear that. I'm making sure I get a nice little boost there on Boswell. Let's see here. What other questions do we have coming in here? We've got Jordan and Jake DeWitt talking about their appreciation for Zins. Malcolm Revamp, $1.99 says, what is the best value play, both on DraftKings and FanDuel? So we both have said we really like Boswell. I think on DraftKings you can also include Freiermuth. I think he's intriguing from a fantasy point per dollar play. If you want to get just a little bit crazy, Calvin Austin Those would be your DraftKings plays. Let's take a peek over here at the dueling fans. Sorry, I should have had those called up there. So on FanDuel, this is where it gets kind of interesting here. If I had faith in Conklin, he would be my cheap guy. I do not. I'm still a little nervous about his injury. So I would say let's set Najee Harris aside because he's probably going to be the most popular option. I think I'd go. God, I can't even believe I'm going to say it. I think I'd go with the Steelers defense.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all either.
Let's say three sacks, three and a half, or 4.5 combined sacks and turnovers, and a 50-50 shot at a touchdown. Not bad. And in a low scoring game, right? You need to know that, how your scoring metrics, how your teams start to, how the fantasy scoring works when the other teams score real points and when they fall down, right? Remember, in DraftKings and FanDuel, you don't ever actually go negative. But you want to be cognizant of that. But if we get the other team only scores 17 points, it's not a bad way to go in that baseline. Even if they weren't to get a touchdown, there's still a reasonable shot at 6 combined sacks and turnovers between Fields and Russell Wilson on there. So, oh, sorry, I said the Steelers. My bad. I meant the Jets. Steelers are not, they're both $9,000. Steelers have a slight advantage in the point per dollar. But there you're really counting on, I don't think that Rodgers will give up enough sacks or picks because they can turn to the running game, the Jets. So could he be sloppy? Sure. Could he force too many into Devante? Yes. But I don't see, he's one of the most sacked quarterbacks this year. I don't see that happening as much tonight. He has too many extra options now.
I get that. I think I like the Steelers team more than you, though, honestly.
Do you? Okay.
Rodgers hasn't been as sharp this season, and it's the Steelers D at home. Like, I don't love the matchup, but they're cheap enough, and they can get there without scoring a TD, which a lot of Ds can't. They pressure the quarterback, a ton of sacks, turnovers. So I like the Steelers D, I think, more than you. I like them more than the Jets D, although I understand why you like the Jets D more, for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to make sure. So I'm going to have, looks like, oh, dear God, about 40% of Boswell. All right, that's fine. Pittsburgh, Jesus, I have 61% of the Steelers, and let's look, that's in the flex. And Jets, I've got, I guess the Sims are telling me something else. But we were talking FanDuel, but I've got 40% Jets defense. God, wow, I just have lots of, I don't even know if I want to go here. Let's see, how many Russell Wilson? Oh my God, I can't have him on 45% of my lineups. That's just wrong. Fields not coming in on any. Adams, you're right. Adams is not really favored by the sim here. Let's look at Wilson was the other one. The other Wilson, Garrett Wilson. Oh God, I'm barely above the field. We'll do one last unfavorite. We'll do one last select. We will export that. Jordan, no need to put up the poll on will I get my lineups in or not tonight. I think I'm going. We say that now. There's 4 minutes left. There could be technical difficulties. I'm involved. There could be all sorts of craziness, Matt. All sorts of craziness. But I think we're going to be okay. Any stone that we have left unturned, in your opinion? Did we not get to something that you wanted to mention?
I don't think so. Yeah, it should be an interesting game. Maybe not the most fun game to watch, but it should be close nonetheless. So, yeah, should be a nice change of pace from some of the games we saw today, which were high scoring.
Yeah, it was surprising. Today was,
it always is,
just weird. I don't want to say it, just like nothing really went as expected today. And that usually there's like, oh, this chalk made it, this chalk didn't. There was just enough between the, I mean, it was a huge thing with Jaden McDaniel, right? Or Jaden Daniel, right? Just him going out was kind of kill a lot of lineups there. All right, let's put these in, and then we'll see what other questions we have for the last 3 minutes. Upload. And we are there. Good to go. So we talked about the promo code everything, which is an amazing promo. We talked about tip off 24. I feel like I'm missing another one. We talked about how you guys could sign up with any of the sites that Jordan had on the screen there, and he also put the link in the chat where you can get 1 month of Stokastic Sims if you have not signed up yet for those sites. The tip off 24 promo, that is everything NBA through the 29th, whether you sign up today, whether you sign up tomorrow, whether you sign up on the 25th, everything through the 29th is yours for $1 with promo code tip off. We have the Sims promo that we mentioned. That was that link 21. And then we got promo code everything, which is 10% off any Stokastic all access package, right? The weekly, the monthly, or the annual. The all access package becomes 10% off for life, frozen at this price if you use promo code everything. There's just some great deals that are out there. They will not be there forever. So jump in and have some fun. Let me see here. We have Manny C. Welcome to the channel. You're going to be at the top of this for a long time because YouTube is funny that way. Charles Moran says used his member 25 months, says vote EMac 2024. That's right. The DFS party or the pizza party, right? There's something for everyone. Find on the platform. We talked about Amy S. and her highest owned captain. Malcolm Revamp got his value play on both sides. And Chris Williams, everybody's favorite Apple guy, dropped in 10 Stokastic membership gifts or 10 YouTube memberships there. Good times. I see So Toxic, also known as Sotex, is in the chat. Hopefully you got one of my lineups here. And by the way, Sotex, tonight would be the night to play 2 defenses in cash. That's one of his favorite things to do against me. So this would be the night to do it. We are about 30 seconds away from kickoff here. I'm going to have a nice chicken pasta dinner with a lovely salad here as I watch the game, and we are now at lock. So shout out to Jordan, who had a birthday yesterday. Shout out to Matt, who had a birthday yesterday. You can find Jordan on Twitter at Jordan Decline. You can find Matt on Twitter at Fantasy Tips Matt. You can find me at EMac DFS. And of course, it is Stokastic _ COM. With that, gamers, good luck.